Today, the vice president filed a perjury case against him. She doesn't know him, she says, never dealt with him, was never part of her office. She has witnesses with her rather, when she went to the Taguig prosecutor's office.
Dito sa video na to, pag-usapan naman ho natin ng interview nitong si Jinky Luistro dito kay Ma'am Pinky Webb. Pagkatapos ng Committee on Justice na madesisyonan na sufficient and form and substance yung mga isinampang impeachment complaint laban dito kay Vice President Sara Duterte. At dito rin ho sa video na to, papasadaan ho natin ang interpellation nitong si Congressman Toby Chanco sa pagtayo kahapon nitong si Congressman Egay Irice kaugnay ng pagkakatanggal niya bilang Deputy Minority Leader dyan sa House of Representatives. At itong si Kong BH, naku, meron ho siyang mensahe sa bayan ng Pilipino. Kumbaga, ito ang mga dahilan kung bakit kailangan si Vice President Sara Duterte ang maupo bilang presidente sa 2028 presidential election. Pero bago yan, isang like at isang subscribe. Alam nyo na ho yan. Masaya na ho tayo dyan. At sa mga gusto sumali sa ating community, yung join button, nandyan lang ho sa baba. Ayun na nga, umpisan ho natin ang ating talakayan dito kay Mama BH, itong BH party list. Pero ngayon ang representante ay ang kanyang asawa. Pero nakikita rin natin sa House of Representatives yung alin na yan. Panoorin natin ito mga kababayan. Game!
Congressman, the few lawmakers who did not sign, you congressman, of the few lawmakers who did not sign, and nung nag-declare si Vice President Sara Duterte to run, you're the one who, isa po kayo sa mga nag-express ng support. Why?
Well, obviously, the mere fact na handa pa rin siyang halapin ang lahat ng to. Makikita mo yung love for her country. Inuna niya muna yung bansa kahit yung sakit na nararanasan niya ngayon. Bugbog. Pero yung lakas ng loob niya dahil nakita niya kung gaano first hand kailangan ng bansa yung serbisyo na ibibigay. Like I said before, hindi ko kasi makalimutan yung sinabi niya dati sa amin. We were asking her to run for president. And then, hindi siya tumakbo. Nag-vice president siya kay Bongbong Marcos. Tapos sabi namin sa kanya, ma'am, ikot kami pero pwede ba ikaw lang ang tulungan namin? Sabi niya, hindi. Kung tutulungan niyo ako, dapat tulungan niyo rin si Bongbong Marcos. Kung hindi niyo siya tutulungan, huwag niyo na akong tulungan.
Yan ang karakter na meron itong si Vice President Sara Duterte. Di ba? Yung nung mga panahon na yun, sabi na niya, di ba, meron na siyang nakikitang mga red flag dito kay Marcos Jr. pagdating sa kaperahan, itong si Martin Romualdez, di ba? Pero dahil nga tumayo sila doon sa iisang bandera na kung tawagin ay Uniteam, dapat talaga hindi pwedeng siya lang, hindi pwedeng iikot kayo, ikakampanya nyo lamang itong si Marcos Jr. tapos hindi nyo siya ikakampanya. Hindi pwede yun. Diba? Kung kakampanya nyo si BP Sara, dapat nakasabit dyan si Marcos Jr. At doon na nga ho nangyari ang malaking pambubudol sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. Yung suporta ng maraming Pilipino dito kay Marcos Jr. Kaya yung mga taga Visayas at Mindanao, masama ho ang loob nila dyan kay Marcos Jr. Pagkatapos kang pinakilala ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa amin, kinuha niya yung boto namin, ibinigay namin yung tiwala namin sa iyo dahil pinagkakatiwalaan namin itong si Inday Sara, tapos ganyan ang gagawin mo. Di ba? Masama ho ang loob ng mga Dabawenyo, mga taga Visayas at Mindanao. Masama ho ang loob nila dito sa administrasyon na to. Lalo na yung ginawa ho nilang pagpapadala kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dyan sa The Hague, Netherlands. Pagkidnap, pakipagkuntsaba ng administrasyon to kay Trillanes, sa ICC para mapadala sa The Hague, Netherlands itong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
So that's the kind of character she has, and that's the kind of character I expect also when she serves her country.
Ma'am, one last na lang talaga. Because on her speech, sa isang speech ay isang event, she emphasized na lahat ng mga sumusuporta sa kanya ay, yun yan, na nabibiktima, hindi ko na, alam mo naman yung ibig sabihin ko, ma'am. Hindi po kayo natatakot.
Nangyayari naman eh. I mean, sa akin, because of that ba, papabayaan mo ang inyong prinsipyo? Papabayaan mo yung bansa natin? Sa akin, doon tayo sa tama. Ako, I'm always issue-based. Always. Not on personalities, but on issue, on character, at ano ang kailangan ng ating bansa. Bakit kayo matatakot kung totoo naman ang iyong sasabihin? Matatakot ka lang kung mayroon kang dapat katakutan.
Correct.
Rules and well. Few congressmen, but the few lawmakers.
Wala pa ano natin itong si Ma'am BH, umikot na ho yan. At sigurado tayo sa 2028, isa ho yan sa ating mga makakasama. Naku, makakasama natin si Ma'am BH na mga kampanya para dito kay VP Sara. Tignan nyo naman. Di ba? Yung mga kaalyado ni VP Sara, puro magaganda. Tapos yung mga kumakalaban sa kanya, kamukha ni Luis Tro, puro mga bakulaw. Literal. Anong tawa. Ito, dito tayo sa interview nitong si Ma'am Pinky Webb dito kay Jarville. Kay Jinky Luistro. Ano naman ba mga kabalbalang sasabihin nitong alin na to?
On her speech,
Diyan, tapos na yan.
Next, in the impeachment process, let's get on point with the chairperson of the House Justice Committee.
Ganda ni Ma'am talagang beauty ho talaga siya. Ganda ni Ma'am Pinky Webb. Palakpakan natin.
Congresswoman Jerville Luistro. Congresswoman, good to have you again.
Ayun, lumabas na yung bakulaw. Nasira na yung frame ng ating video. Pagka lumilito ang pagmumukha ni Jinky Luistro dito, nasiwaho tayo eh.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Thank you, Pinky, and good evening to all our viewers.
Sufficient in substance rather, the third and fourth impeachment complaint already voted upon by members of the Justice Committee. The vote was 54-1 and 54-1. 54 approved and 1 did not approve. And also on the next impeachment complaint, the same number. This is accurate, right, ma'am?
That is correct, Pinky.
What's next?
So, well, it was part of our hearing today. We already issued a notice to the Vice President. That is for her to file her answer within the period of non-extendable period of 10 calendar days. That is with respect to the grounds alleged in the two impeachment complaints, no? And per communication with the committee secretariat, that notice will be served tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning.
So the calendar days, what you mentioned, the non-extendable calendar days begin tomorrow, that's March 5.
That is correct, Pinky.
So what happens then? What happens on March 15? That's 10 days after the issuance of the notice.
This answer of the Vice President should be furnished as well to the complainant. And from receipt by the complainant of the copy of this answer, they are given a period of 3 calendar days to file a reply. And then this reply has to be furnished as well to the Vice President, the respondent, in which case she is likewise given again a 3 calendar day period for her to be able to file her rejoinder. But that's actually her choice, whether or not to file a rejoinder. Similar to the answer, because I was asked this afternoon, what if no answer was filed? Well, the consequence will be all the allegations will be considered as denied by the Vice President.
I see. So I'll circle back there later, Congresswoman, just to understand this better. So again, beginning tomorrow, the Vice President will be issued this notice, issuance of a notice that is non-extendable. That will happen on March 15. I mean, that's yung pinaka-late na po na sagot. After March 15, yung kanilang sagot ay i-furnish doon sa complainant, and the complainant has 3 calendar days also to respond, to which that will be March 18. Pagkatapos po ng March 18, meron pong pwedeng rejoinder ang kampo po ni Vice President. That will happen March 21 if this is actually followed and if a rejoinder is issued. After March 21 rather, what happens, Congresswoman?
After March 21, suppose all the responsive pleadings are received already and all the evidence are submitted, including the swearing in of all affidavits and counter affidavits, the Justice Committee shall determine whether or not there is sufficient ground that supports the impeachment complaint. If the answer is in the affirmative, we shall proceed to step 4. And that step 4 is the hearing proper.
I see. Balik po tayo dun sa pagbigay po nung after nung March 21, magkakaroon po ng possibly swearing, you said, of additional evidence or affidavits from both sides. What is that? What is that? What could comprise that?
Because in filing answer, they will be alleging defenses. In filing reply or rejoinder, they will be alleging defenses. They will be mentioning names of witnesses, in which case there's a very big possibility that they will be submitting affidavits and counter affidavits as well. In that case, under the rule, those documents need to be sworn in before the Justice Committee as well.
The documents, not
Yes.
the people.
They have to come to the Justice Committee
Also.
para panumpaan nila yung kanilang mga salaysay. And that should happen before the Justice Committee.
Got it. And then, pagkatapos po nun, paano ho ba, Congressman, pag-aaralan niyo pa ulit ito, and then you will come up with a committee report?
Not yet, Pinky. After the submission of all the responsive pleadings, the affidavits and counter affidavits, including all the evidence, no, the Justice Committee shall determine whether or not there is sufficient.
Tanggalin natin dito, natakpan si Bacolod. Pinag-uusapan lang ho nila kung ano yung kung paano nila sasalansanin yung impeachment na yan laban dito kay VP Sara. Eh tayo naman ho dito sa PH update, hindi ho tayo magtataka kung ika nga akit yan sa Senado. Hindi tayo magtataka diyan. Kumbaga, ang atin ho dito, bonus na lang kung sa House of Representative, magurgur na yan. Ika nga, hindi makakuha ng karampatang boto para maiakyat sa Senado. Bonus na lang yun. Diba? Ang atin talaga dito, alam natin, pagdating sa Senado, doon ho talaga kasi magkakalatagad na eh. Yung kasing nangyari dyan, nagkabulahan lang sila. Kunyari itong si Rufus Rodriguez, kumukontra para may pakita sa sambay ng Pilipino na kahit pa paano merong nag-o-oppose na ma-impeach si VP Sara dyan sa House of Representatives. Para hindi mapakita na one-sided tapos ang ilinagay nila na makikipagbulahan sa kanila, itong si Rufus Rodriguez. Maya-maya, boboto din pala na sufficient in substance yung mga impeachment complaint laban kay VP Sara. Palakpakan ho natin ang mga kabalbalan nila.
Ground
Okay.
that supports the impeachment complaint.
Opo.
No? And if the answer to that is in the affirmative, if the decision of the Justice Committee is in the affirmative, meaning they will determine that indeed there is sufficient ground that supports the impeachment complaint, then that is the time when we proceed to the hearing proper.
Okay.
Pinky?
Yeah, I got it. It's all, just to be honest, Congresswoman, it's been a while since we actually saw this kind of an arrangement. And in fact, of course, obviously, with the decision of the Supreme Court regarding the questions by the defense during last year's impeachment trial against the Vice President. So this is quite new for someone, at least to my memory. Kaya iniisip ko po, marami pa rin po pahusang pagdadaanan. Kasi pagkatapos
Yes.
po nung vote kahapon, that's almost like that's just step one. Gaya ng
Yes.
sabi mo kanina.
Yes.
A quick question though, when you were giving me the rundown of this, sabi niyo po, pagkatapos ng submission of affidavits and counter affidavits, the Justice Committee members will determine if there are grounds to support. Tama po, yung
Yes,
impeachment.
yes.
How many days are you given to determine this?
There is no specific number of days within which to determine the sufficient ground that supports the impeachment complaint. The only prescriptive period that is given to the Justice Committee is to be able to submit a committee report not later than 60 session days from the date of referral by the plenary to the Justice Committee.
Right. And when was that?
I think that happened on February 23.
Yeah.
It was February 23 when all the 4 impeachment complaints were referred by the plenary to the Justice Committee.
So, what is clear is from Feb 23, you have 60 calendar days to issue a report to the plenary.
That is session days, Pinky.
Session.
60 session days.
Okay, that's different. Okay, medyo mas mahaba po yan, obviously, than calendar days. Pero bago po yun, kailan pa, again, it's almost like, is it correct, Congresswoman, that the vote was there is sufficient grounds, and yet you are giving both parties enough time and the opportunity to again submit evidence, and then you will again decide if it is sufficient?
Because this time, Pinky, included in our consideration will be the answer
Right.
of the respondent, the reply, if ever there will be a reply, the rejoinder, and all the evidence that they will submit, including all the affidavits and counter affidavits. And this is different from what happened today. Because today, what we determined is merely the sufficiency in substance, which is supposed to be a judgment based on the face of the impeachment complaint, including its attachment. What will happen on the third step is an evaluation and judgment which will be based as well on the responsive pleadings, including the evidence submitted.
Right. It's almost as if yung unang pong, yung stage 1 is determining if there is enough grounds to proceed. Pero kasi po yun ay galing lang doon sa mga nagsampa ng kaso. Parang po ganun.
That's
And,
correct.
Di ho ba? And then the second part would be, yung pong sinasakdal o yung suspect, kumbaga, ngayon sasagot na, then you will again decide if there is, again, enough grounds to actually proceed. All right.
Tama
Okay.
ka doon, Pinky.
All right, so at least mas malinaw po siya ngayon. All right, that's why pala earlier there was a congressman who was saying that even actually you said, and I quote, these complaints basically, the question is, meet the constitutional threshold to move forward. At this stage, we are not determining guilt, as also echoed by a congressman earlier today. In fact, that's when I also asked, okay, I was wondering why that had to be underscored and why it had to be clarified. So,
And to add to that, Pinky, kanina, we did not evaluate the evidence yet. So what happened kanina is merely an evaluation of what appears on the face of the impeachment complaint, including its attachment. But as to whether or not those allegations are true, and with respect to the weight of the evidence, that will happen on the third step once we receive all the responsive pleadings, including all the evidence submitted by the parties.
now that's clear. All right, we're going to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion. Justice Committee Chairperson, Congresswoman Jervil Luis. Or Congresswoman, I had a thought a while ago and I wanted to ask you this. Is it possible, in the realm of possibilities, did you ever think of, or could it be a possibility that the defense can question the procedure regarding the third and fourth impeachment complaint in connection with its sufficiency in substance?
Well, of course, that is a possibility because we cannot stop them from going to the Supreme Court and filing a petition. But I want to share to the viewing public this decision of the Supreme Court in the case of Merceditas Gutierrez, no? Ang sabi dyan, the determination of sufficiency in substance is a question that rests in the exclusive judgment of the individual members of the Justice Committee. Having said so, I don't think that this is a proper subject matter of a petition to be filed with the Supreme Court. Pinky.
I understand. Just really looking at the possibilities that could actually stop or put a halt to the progress of this. But isn't it also, please correct me if I'm wrong, the same decision by the Supreme Court that said that initiation begins once it is brought to the House Justice Committee? Wasn't that also the Gutierrez ruling?
It was pronounced as well in the Gutierrez ruling, but the original decision as to when the initiation is completed is the Francisco ruling.
The Francisco ruling, all right. Okay, so that's a possibility. It be questioned, but again, there was a ruling, as you mentioned a while ago, in the Gutierrez case about this. Let's just talk about some of the points that were mentioned, a few of them. One, whether the alleged violations of the Vice President as DepEd Secretary could farm or cover the jurisdiction of the Justice Committee. Did you think this was going to come out?
Well, I anticipated that. And true enough, it was articulated by the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez, no? He argued na the impeachable officials are clearly enumerated in the Constitution, and none of those is the Secretary of the Department of Education. But I think the analogy that was presented by the Honorable Abante is very much illustrative of the point which the majority of the Congs wants to point out, no?
Ayun,
Ang
dalawang
sabi
kamay
niya,
po.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Congresswoman, for those who may have missed it.
Sobra kong na-appreciate yun. At least in my personal capacity as a Filipino citizen. He was saying,
Capacity, Filipino si...
meron akong kanang kamay at meron din akong kaliwang kamay, pero isang utak
Utak.
lang ang nagpapaandar dito sa dalawang kamay. Which means that kahit
kayo, ang problema dito, meron kayong utak, meron kayong kanang kamay, meron kayong kaliwang kamay, pero iisang amo lang ang nag-uutos sa inyo. Yun na matindi doon. Diba? Banat kayo ng banat ng ganyan KBP.
ikaw
Akala mo
ay
talagang...
Vice President and at the same time, Secretary of Department of Education, these two capacities arise because of the trust that was given to you by the people as Vice President, no? And as a matter of fact, iisang tao ka lang. So how can you divide that personality as a Vice President and as DepEd Secretary? At least this
Magkakaroon nun ng mas malaliman pang ang tawag dito, mas malaliman pang paghimay diyan sa mga punto na yan. Siguro kasi ang nakikita natin doon sa nangyaring hearing, kumbaga yung mga possible na depensa ng kampo ni VP Sara ilinatag na nila at binasag na ho nila doon pa lang sa Committee on Justice, 'di ba? Doon pa lang kumbaga pagka i-release nila yung mga punto de vista nila siguro sa impeachment court o diyan sa kanilang mga apela na yan, diyan sa Committee on Justice, ilalatag na nila na napag-usapan at nadesisyonan na yung mga magiging depensa ng kampo nitong si VP Sara. Hindi natin alam kung anong strategiya nitong mga bahulaw na to kagaya nitong si Jinky Luistro. Pero ang ating sigurado dito, napaka-bias ho ng nangyaring pagsisiyasat ng Committee on Justice kung may sufficient in form and substance ang impeachment complaint laban dito kay VP Sara.
is the point of argument of most of the members of the Justice Committee who maintain the position that the Justice Committee has jurisdiction over the offenses committed by the respondent, even in her capacity as Department of Education Secretary.
But isn't it true that the reason the Vice President was also appointed as a Department of Education Secretary was because she was Vice President, plain and simple?
That is correct. That is correct, Pinky. As a matter of fact, shinare sa atin ni Congressman Joel Chua.
Ma'am Piggy, wala ka bang dyan? Wala ka bang katanungan na medyo hindi one-sided? Kumbaga yung medyo merong sapak ng konti.
That provision of the law which says na because she is the Vice President being appointed as the Secretary of Department of Education, exempted siya from the process of confirmation, no? Ito yung napakahirap na prosesong pinagdadaanan ng mga cabinet members. Pero kumbaga distinct yung situation niya because naging secretary ng DepEd siya because she is the Vice President.
Actually,
No?
the reason, Congresswoman, I was raising that, because since I can remember, when you become a vice president, whoever the vice president is, ang iniisip ho talaga ay anong role ng magiging VP, what cabinet post the president will be giving the vice president, unlike, of course, what happened during the Duterte and Lenny Robredo time. But anyway, I'll set that aside. So that was one point that was talked about. Unexplained wealth. Ito na lang po, yung affidavit of Madriaga.
Yes.
So today, the vice president
Smoking
filed
gun,
a perjury case against him. She doesn't know him, she says, never dealt with him, was never part of her office. She has witnesses with her rather, when she went to the Taguig prosecutor's office. Paano ho kaya mababangga ito na gamitin ang affidavit ni Madriaga, and yet meron pong sinasabi sa si VP na dapat binackground check man lang yan, hindi ko yan kakilala o hindi nagtrabaho sa akin yan.
Yan. Kasi once na si VP Sara napatunayan niya na sinungaling itong si Madriaga, wala na akong smoking gun itong si Benny Abante. Yari ka dito kay Ma'am Pinky. Madam, ngayon hirap na. Kitang-kita tong si Jinky Luistro pagka nai-stress siya. O, tignan natin kung magiging magiging pareha siya dito. Kasi committee chairperson ka, dapat sa mga ganyang klaseng tanong. Medyo nasa gitna ka, di ba? Pakinggan natin ito si Baculaw.
Well, Pinky, we will simply proceed with the proceeding of the Justice Committee, no? Ibang forum yun where the case of perjury was filed by the Vice President against Ramil Madriaga, no? And this one is separate and distinct from the case that was filed by the Vice President. So regardless of the filing of the perjury case, the Justice Committee will simply proceed to its proceeding and will receive the testimony of Ramil Madriaga the moment he was presented by the complainant.
Yeah. And then, of course, lumabas po yung claims of threats.
Ika nga, di bali ng fake news, di bali ng puro kasinungalingan. Basta ma-dispatcha lang si VP Sara, di ba? Ibaling gamitin itong si Ramil Madriaga kahit na walang katotohanan ng mga lumalabas sa bunganga niya. Okay lang, basta ma-dispatcha si VP Sara. Pero yung 18 Marine na kung saan matindi-tinding aligasyon at talagang nakita ho natin na talagang nagkaroon ng napakalaking nakawan sa kaban na sambayanan, tahimik yung mga individual na kagaya nito si Jinky Baculaw.
So that was again played during the hearing to ascertain that you guys were all on the same page, that you were talking about those particular threats. And lastly, of course, very controversial, Congresswoman, yung isa pong naging reaction ng madlang people, ng tao po.
Ayun na nga mga kababayan, sasalansanin na ho nila itong si Congressman Bong Suntay. Tayo naman, wala naman ho tayong dyan. Pakialam nga, problema ni Bong Suntay yan at itong si Ann Cortez. So kung anong analogy man ang ginawa niya doon, bahala na siya doon. Di ba? Marami kasing supporter tong si Ann Cortez at syempre pagka ganyan yung dahil kababaihan, sensitibo pagka medyo mga ganun yung banat mo, hindi naman natin din masisi yung ibang mga individual, pero para sumangkot at makiumpukan pa dyan sa usapan. Wag na ho, marami na sila dyan. Wag na ho tayong sumali. No? Kumbaga, usapang usapang kalimutan. Paala kayo dyan. No? Dito ho tayo kay Congressman Egay Iricia, dito kay marami na sila dyan. Ba't pa tayo magkikipagsiksikan dyan? Diba, lahat na lang ng vlogger tinalakay ang mga mga analogy na yan itong si Bong Suntay dito kay Ann Cortez. Diba? Ang daming pwede. Hindi dapat ito. Pwedeng sabihin mo na lang ano pangalan to, na si Ann na lang. Huwag mo na lagyan ng apelyido. Linagyan mo pa ng Cortez. Kung ginamit mo yung Ann tsaka Cortez, wala namang kaibahan yung magiging analogy mo. Isa lang ang napakagandang babae na lang. Pwede na yun. Pinangalanan mo pa. Merong mga fan base kung tawagin. Siyempre, influencer / artista yan. Artista / influencer. Talagang babalikan ka ng mga yan. Di ba? Ang daming pwedeng gamiting analogy. Pwede na lang siguro yung Angelina Jolie. Di ba? At least yung tipong walang balik sa'yo. Dahil dahil Hollywood star, di ka naman kilala, di niya naman naiintindihan ang mga pinagsasabi mo, di ba? Di niya naman alam kung gaano kalaswa ang Binanatan mo pa kita mo si Karen Davila at kung sino-sino pa ay talaga nagkomento doon sa kanyang mga punto de vista. Dito tayo kay Risa Game.
Yes, Madam Speaker, hindi ko po alam kung natatandaan pa ng ating colleague na si Congressman Erice yung mainit na mga debate namin noong 2013 hanggang 2016. Hindi lamang po dito sa loob ng Kongreso, kung hindi pati sa mga TV programs, siguro wala nang mas mainit na debate kesa doon sa debate namin. Pero pagkatapos po ng debate, wala kaming personalan, nagkakamayan kami. Ito ay bilang isang respeto sa isang tao na kung hindi man kami nagkakasundo, at least alam ko na ang pinaglalaban niya ay tungkol sa prinsipyo, hindi dahil sa kung anumang bagay na siya ay sumisip-sip kung kanino, na siya ay binigyan ng kahit anong benepisyo. Kung hindi, kami nagtatalo dahil magkaiba lang kami ng pananaw. But those were very passionate debates. Natatandaan po ba ng ating colleague yung mga debating yun?
Opo, natandaan ko po. Nasabi niyo pa nga yata nun, yung medyo may kahawig akong unggoy
Wala.
Kaya lang, sabi ko naman sa inyo, at least yung kandidato niyong presidente, kahawig ko rin.
Wala naman pong ganon. Pero kahit ano pong debate ang pinagdaanan po nating dalawa, dear colleague, nananatili yung mataas na respeto ko sa iyo dahil ang alam ko naman ay hindi lang tayo nagkakatugma ng prinsipyo, dear colleague.
Yes, at the same way, the same feeling for you.
Pero wala po akong sinabi na kahawig ng unggoy. Hindi po totoo. Anyway, ito pong pangyayaring ito, tama po ba yung dinig ko na tila may impluensya ang galing sa labas ang pagtanggal sa inyo bilang minority leader? Senior deputy minority leader.
Well, I think the very fact na ako po ay pinapatawag sa Office of the Majority Leader ay at upang i-clarify yung mga sinabi ko, isang indikasyon na ito na natatandaan ko na talagang sinita ako for criticizing the Marcos administration. Sinabi ko naman, naintindihan ko dahil siyempre magulang mo. Pero siyempre po, ito po ay isang deliberative body. Dapat po, wag nating personalin yung
Correct.
mga pinag-debate dito. At dapat ito ay maging learning experience para sa ating lahat.
Madam Speaker,
Hindi pwede kay Sandro yun. Hindi pwede kay Sandro yun. Di ba? Kahit si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, wala talagang modo yung Sandro Marcos na yan. Yeah, wala talagang modo. Kahit nung panahon nitong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, nung nagkakaroon ng banatan, doon, natin siya, binanatan natin niya si Charis noong panahon na si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, ang kandidato pa, itong si Senator Christopher Bongo. Diba? Talagang balagbag ho tayo dyan sa bata na yan. Nakita natin yung pagiging walang modo niya. Pinipigilan siya ng tita Amy niya nun eh. Diba? Magagawa natin. Baka talagang gumagamit na rin ng pulburon yan. Kaya masyadong kung makapag-isip. Masyadong mapusok. Kumbaga hindi, yung pagkakatrain sa kanya ng tito niya bilang congressman, napakawalang kwenta. Kaya para sa mga taga Ilocos Norte, pumili kayo ng taga-representante nyo. Anak ng toka. Diba? Pili ka, kung gusto nyo talaga si Sandro Marcos, wala tayong magagawa dyan. Lugar nyo yan eh. Diba? Ano yan, representante nyo yan eh. Nasa sa inyo na yan kung yung representante nyo wala nang pakialam kahit magmukha na sinto-sinto kahit basta mapagtanggol niya lang ang kanyang ama, diba? Wala naman sa atin yan. Sa kanila yan.
yan po ang isa sa mga problema, no? Hindi ko alam kung ang ating colleague dito ang nakausap ko nung nagsimula ang isa sa mga miyembro ng minority na nakausap ko nung nagsimula ang 20th Congress, at dahil hindi na ako sasama sa majority nung panahon na yon, ay inaya akong sumama sa minority. Ang sagot ko nun is mas malaya akong makakapagsalita kung ako ay independent. Kasi gano'n naman talaga eh. Whether we admit it or not, aminin man natin o hindi, may konting negosasyon, may konting usapan between the majority and the minority. Pero pag ikaw ay independent, walang pwedeng pumigil sa'yo dito kung ano ang gusto mong gawin. Medyo may katotohanan po ba yung aking observation, dear colleague?
Opo. At totoo po yun dahil gusto ko po na aminin yung katotohanan, yun ang makapagpapalaya sa atin. Nung ako po inirekomenda ni dating SMDL Paul Dasa kay Minority Leader Nonoy Libanan, pinausap niya ako at sinabi niya kailangan ko ring magpaalam kay Speaker Romualdez. Kaya po ako mismo ay nagpunta kay Speaker Romualdez sa kanyang townhouse sa McKinley Road at sinabi ko po yung aking pagnanasa na maging Senior Deputy Minority Leader. At inaasahan, maaari pong dahil sa pagpapaalam ko sa kanya, parang may kaunti akong obligasyon na siyempre tumulong sa kanya at dito sa House of Representatives. At nais ko naman pong tumulong. Kaya lang po, nung pinag-aralan ko po yung 2023, 2024 at 2025 General Appropriations Act, ako po ay nanlupo. Sapagkat hindi pa po ako nakakita sa loob ng 5 kongreso na nung ganitong uri ng pagbabudget na naging dahilan ng bilyong-bilyong pagnanakaw, pandarambong sa ating bayan. Kaya, ano po man yung pinangatawanan ko na po, yung pagiging minority, at gusto ko po na kahit pa paano makapag-contribute para matigil na yung ganitong sistema sa pagbabudget sa ating bansa.
Okay. Madam Speaker, dear colleague, tandang-tanda ko po yung sinasabi niyong pangyayari noong 2016 na bagong halal po na Pangulo si President Duterte noon, at ang dapat na sana na magiging minority noon ay ang yumaong si Edsel Lagman, di ba? Alam ko po yon dahil nag-usap nga kami ni Congressman Edsel Lagman. At ang naging huling boto ko noon, nung nagbobotohan na dito sa plenaryo para bumoto na speaker, ako po ay nag-independent noon. Never pa po ako sumasama sa minority. Ang akin lang is either sumama ako sa majority o sumama sa ang maging independent, dahil pananaw ko lang po, with all due respect sa lahat ng mga kasamahan natin sa minority, mas malaya po akong makakapagsalita kung ako po ay independent. At ang nangyari po noon, hindi po nanalo yung dating yumaong Edsel Lagman, dahil ang nangyari po doon ay nagkapahiraman ng boto, kaya't iba po ang nangyari. So, ibig sabihin ng pahiraman is yung mga miyembro ng mayorya ay ipinahiram noon sa minority, kaya't hindi po kayo ang nakakuha ng minority noon. So, ang ibig ko na sabihin, kung nangyari po na yan ngayon, hindi po unang beses na nangyari. Hindi po sa pagkakataon na ito.
Madam Speaker, nangyayari na po yan at yan na po yung nagiging kalakaran. Kaya po siguro nakakalusot yung mga pagpapalusot dahil po hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng tunay na check and balance sa Kongreso. Hindi ngayon lamang, kundi yung mga nakaraang panahon dahil sa sistemang ito na siguro po sa pamagitan ng pangyayaring ito ay pwedeng mapag-isipan ng kapulungang ito upang maiwasan na, dahil talaga pong kailangan ng isang bayan ng totoong mga minorities na makapag-guide sa mga nagagawang
Ako excited ako eh. Gusto ko talagang makipagdebate itong si Sandro Marcos eh. Siya talaga gusto kong makitang ika nga. Sitahin mo itong si Congressman Egay Irice sa plenaryo, hindi yung sa ano, yung papatawag mo sa opisina ng ang tawag dito, majority leader o sa opisina ng speaker. Tapos doon mo siya duduru-duruin, doon mo siya sasabihan ng ano yun, di ba? Para kang, ang dating para kang, ang boss ho talaga dyan ang mga Marcos dyan sa House of Representatives. Ganon ho sila kawalang delikadesa. Presidente na tatay niya, deputy majority speaker pa siya, deputy majority leader pa siya, talagang kawalan ho ng delikadesa yan. Yan yung mga galawan na hindi natin nakita nung panahon nitong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
kamalian. Wala namang perpekto eh. Mas maganda po yung may pumupuna kaysa sa wala para na itatama yung mali. Subalit, hindi ko naman po sinasabi na na walang kalayaan. Kami nga po, nagkaroon kami ng kalayaan, aktibo kami, at nagpapasalamat ako sa ating minority leader dahil talaga pong hanggat maari ay pinagtatanggol niya kami sa Manoria.
Yun po. So tama po yung recollection ko po noong nangyari noong 2016.
Tama po.
With
Tama po.
due courtesy to our distinguished colleagues, we have extended the time from 10 minutes to 40 minutes and now from 5 minutes to 7 minutes and 54 seconds. May we request our distinguished colleagues to please wrap up.
Madam
Wrap up
Speaker,
na
I
daw
hope
kayo.
bigyan naman po kami ng oras kasi wala naman pong nagrereklamo doon sa mga susunod na mag-privilege speech. At napakahalaga nito dahil ang tumbo ko po dito is siguro itong pagkakataon para baguhin natin yung sistemang ganon. Mas maganda po talaga na malayang nakakapagsalita ang lahat ng miyembro dito sa ating kapulungan. Di ba po, distinguished colleague?
We take note of your recommendation
Yes,
and
Madam
just
Speaker.
for the record, everybody is given an opportunity to speak up. Except that we have 4 members who are lined up under a privileged speech. The Honorable Egay Arice rose on a matter of personal and collective privilege. Nagbigay daan po ang iba, and we actually have a lot of bills.
Ayun na nga mga kababayan, dito na muna natin siguro tatapusin ang ating reaction video. Actually, pagkatapos ng break nila, magsasalita pa itong si Congressman na Toby Chanco. Ang bottom line dito, wala ko talagang totoong opposition dyan sa House of Representatives. Kung sakaling kinantimo itong si Marcos Jr., papaluin ni Sandro Marcos ang iyong kamay. O yun ho ang nakita ng sambayan ng Pilipino dyan sa ginawa na yan dito kay Congressman Egay Irice. So always, maraming salamat po sa pagsuporta sa PH Update. Mag-ingat po kayong lahat, especially dito kay Bakula. Huwag po kayong basta-basta maniwala dito kay Jinky Luistro. Yan ho, bata ho yan itong si Martin Romualdez. Kung anong gustong kumpas ni Martin dyan sa mga hearing, dyan sa yan ho mangyayari dyan. Yung impeachment na yan, pagmamaniobra ho yan nitong si Sandro Marcos dyan sa Committee on Justice. So Luis, mag-ingat po kayo lahat natin Pilipinas. Maraming salamat mga kababayan.